Hey everybody, I'm back with another book review. So I just finished reading probably, if not one of the biggest anticipation releases for the fall of this year. And if you don't know who that is, you might be living under a rock. But I just finished reading this lovely book here, Fire Storms by Sarah J. Maas. And like I said, it's one of the most anticipated reads of the year. Everybody who is anybody wanted to read this book. I finally got my hands on a copy, and I gotta say, oh Sarah, I am very disappointed. I'm not gonna say that I dislike the whole book, but I mean, it's not one of my favorites, and I grew to love this series. This is coming from a person who did not like the first book and was just pressured to keep reading on because it was such a phenomenal series. And as I did read more and more, with each book that came out, I loved the series. But then we came to Empire Storms, and I gotta say, I kind of left it flat for me. And I think that's only because this is probably the book that was supposed to slow down all the action and everything that was going on and start tying up some loose ends and explaining things a little bit more. With a series that's like 6 or plus books, sometimes you just need that one book that's like, it's not about the action, it's not about all the characters that you love anymore, it's more so about, let's start explaining some things, because this story here then grew so much from what it was, you kind of gotta wonder, at one point, what the heck is going on. So this will be spoiler free. I don't want to get too much into it. Saying that I did not get literally the first half of the book. I was completely lost. I didn't know what was going on, and I think it's kind of like if you didn't read the last book, Queen of Shadows, if you didn't read that and then jump right into this one, things probably would have made a whole lot more sense. But I read Queen of Shadows last year, and as thick as these books are, and even though I love them, I just did not have the time to just do a reread, just to refresh myself in that. And usually sometimes with series, the author kind of sums up what happened in the last book, so that, when they mention stuff in the new book, you're kind of up to speed. But in my opinion, she did not do that in this book. She kind of just, kept the story going. And it just kind of left me just a little bit confused. I had no clue who was speaking in the first part of the book, because this book, each chapter is told through a different person's perspective. So there's a character that's talking. I'm like, who the heck is this? Probably my favorite parts of the book, of course, would have to be Alid and Lorcan. And Lorcan was another character that when he was first introduced in the book, I'm like, who is this guy? I don't remember him. It took me a while to remember who he was, but I loved their parts in the story. Of course, I love Manon, and I'm kind of disappointed a little bit in Manon because she didn't do as much as I wanted her to do. I still think she has so much room for her character to be awesome, and she was kind of pulled back a lot in this book. I was glad that she was in it, but I just wish there was more of her being herself. Aileen and Rowan, what can I say? I did not like Aileen too much in this book. She was just kind of bitchy to me. Yeah, I just didn't connect with her. I didn't know what was going through her head, what was going on. Rowan was kind of just there for me too. I just didn't like it. And not to mention, Chaol is not in this book. I don't consider that a spoiler because he's just not in it. So I'm thinking he's going to make a guest appearance in one of the things. They barely mention him. And I'm just kind of in the last book, he was kind of, I was worried about him, and they don't mention him at all. So I'm hoping in the next book that he gets a really big role, because I like Chaol. I know a lot of people don't. He's actually one of my favorite characters, so I would just love to see him. Other than that, there's still a lot of action in this book. We get to see some characters return from the Assassin's Blade, so if you read that, then you'll be up to speed on this part in the book, and that's what I was mentioning before. There's so much going on, and if you didn't read the other ones, or if you wasn't paying attention, you're going to be lost. But I pushed through it. I did eventually liked it more so towards the end, and I'm hyped about the next book, which I believe is going to be the last one. But other than that, it's still a great series overall. If you haven't read it, you need to read it and push through it. That's all I can say about it. But that's all that I'm going to end this video with here.